It's 3 a.m., you can't sleep, you're scrolling through your phone, and every other headline is about artificial intelligence. You see a news alert, a major tech company just cut thousands of jobs, replacing them with AI. This isn't some abstract, far-off concept anymore. It feels real, personal, and it's knocking on the door. You read that Klarna, the massive buy now and pay later company, rolled out an AI chatbot that is now doing the work of 700 customer service agents. It's handling millions of chats, resolving issues in minutes instead of over 10, and it's doing it 24/7. Then you see another story about IBM, a titan of the industry, which has already cut thousands of jobs, many in its HR department, replacing them with AI systems that handle routine tasks. Let's be honest with each other. If you're not at least a little worried about AI, how it's going to affect your job, your career, your future, you're either not paying close enough attention or you're trying to convince yourself of a convenient lie. That knot in your stomach, that late night anxiety, it's a shared experience in this new era. But what if I told you that this specific fear is the very thing keeping you up at night and it's not a weakness? What if it's the most powerful competitive advantage you have right now? What if that fear is exactly your secret weapon? Before we go any further, let's define the fear. Let's start by understanding its shape, where it begins, and more importantly, where we can make it end. This anxiety isn't just a feeling you have in isolation. It's a rational response to seismic shift in your world, and it's backed by staggering data. A widely cited report from McKinsey Global Institute estimates that ongoing automation purchased by AI could displace up to 400 million jobs worldwide by 2030. Let that number sink in. That's more than the entire population of the United States right now. But maybe by 2030, it will eventually get to that number. We don't know. We're talking about a transformation on a scale that will impact almost every industry. The jobs most at risk are those who are centered around repetitive tasks like data collection and administrative support, the very bedrocks of millions of careers. But that's the only half of the story. Buried in the same projections is the other side of the coin. The part of the headlines often glows over. The same economic forces are expected to create around 97 million new jobs over the similar period. These new roles will be in fields like data analysis, AI development, and other areas that require a new way of working with technology. Now, you don't need to be a mathematician to see the disparity between 400 millions and 97. The immense space between those two numbers is where our conversation gets deeply personal. That gap represents the single greatest workforce transition in our lifetime. And whether you fall into the gap or successfully cross it depends entirely on how you react to the change that is coming. This is the chasm between those who adapt and those who are left behind. It's a deeply ingrained evolutionary advantage, your primal survival instinct kicking into high gear in a modern and digital world. It's a biological and psychological alarm bell, waking you up to a clear and present reality. It's the very thing that has you listening to this, doing your own research and thinking critically about the future while so many others are actively choosing to ignore the warning sign. It's your personal early warning system screaming that the ground beneath your feet is shifting. The question is, what do you do once you've heard the alarm? In the face of this monumental change, people are sorting themselves into three distinct groups. First, the deniers. Their mantra is, I will never be able to replace me. I will never be able to do what I can do. They say it with confidence and sometimes arrogance. They are the modern day equivalent of the expert blacksmiths who, upon seeing the first automobiles, scoffed at the noisy, unrelatable machines and went back to the forge, certain that nothing could ever replace the horse. They are the taxi drivers who dismissed Uber as a freeing app for tech enthusiasts right before it completely upended their entire industry. Deniers cling to the comfort of the present, believing their skills are irreplaceable, their industry immune. Their confidence is a shield, but it's a brittle one, protecting them from a truth they are not yet willing to see. The paralyzed is the second type. In this group, in many ways is more dangerous than being a denier. Why? Because they see the threat, they read the same headlines, they see the same data, and they feel the same fear. But the sheer scale and speed of the change freezes them in place. They see the digital tidal wave on the horizon, but they're so overwhelmed by its size that they don't know which way to run. They're caught in a state of anxious inaction, endlessly scrolling, wandering, and consuming information without ever translating it into a plan. They ask, should I learn to code? Should I learn data science? What about prompt engineering? Does that sound familiar? Be honest. Many of us find ourselves here. The type 3 is the adapter. These are the people who feel the exact same fear as the paralyzed, but they channel it differently. They metabolize their anxiety and turn it into fuel. They understand that fear is not just a warning system, but a call to action. Look at the world photographers. When AI-powered image editing tools and generators first appeared, the deniers scoffed and calling them cheap tricks that lacked artistry. The adapters, however, saw something different. They leaned in. They learned how to use those tools, not as a replacement for their creativity, but as a powerful amplifier of it. They use AI to speed up their tedious editing workflows, to generate novel concepts for inspiration, and to enhance their final images in ways that were once impossible. As a result, they didn't become less valuable, they became more valuable, delivering a superior product faster than ever before. They're not just surviving, they are thriving. So I want you to pause and ask yourself with complete honesty, which of those three am I right now? Because your answer to that question will define your professional life for the next decade. The choice you're facing is not a new one. History is filled with moments like this, inflection points where an entire industry was forced to choose between the past and the future. There's no better case study for this than the tale of two companies, Kodak and Netflix. First, think about Kodak. In 1975, a young engineer at Kodak named Steven Sasson invented something revolutionary, the world's first digital camera. He assembled it from a movie camera lens, some circuit boards, and a cassette tape to store the image. It was clunky, 8-pound device that took about 23 seconds to capture a single black and white photo. When he presented his creation to Kodak's management, their reaction was not excitement, but a fear and dismissal. They asked him, why would anyone ever want to look at pictures on a screen? But their real fear was much deeper than that. Kodak's entire, widely profitable business was built on selling film and photographic paper. Digital photography threatened to cannibalize their core business. So instead of embracing the future they had invented, they buried it. They tried to protect the past, and for decades it seemed to work until it didn't. Kodak filed for bankruptcy, a tragic footnote in the history of the very industry it had pioneered. Now contrast that with Netflix. In the early 2000s, Netflix was a multi-million-dollar company built on a single brilliant idea, mailing DVDs in red envelopes. But its founder, Reed Hastings, saw the future, and it wasn't a physical media. He knew that streaming was the tidal wave that would eventually wash away his own business. So he made a decision that was at the time seen as a corporate suicide. He announced a plan to split the company, effectively killing off the DVD by mail business by rebranding it as Quister and forcing customers into a new, more expensive streaming-focused plan. The backlash was immediate and brutal. The company's stock price crashed over 75%, and they lost nearly 1 million angry subscribers. The media called it one of the greatest corporate blunders in history. But Hastings was playing a different game. He was willing to sacrifice the profitable present to earn the inevitable future. He chose to become the disruptor of his own company rather than wait for someone else to do it. He weathered the storm, and as a result, Netflix didn't just survive the transition, it became he came to dominate the entire next era of entertainment. Kodak wanted to protect the past and went bankrupt. Netflix destroyed its own business to lead the future and became a global powerhouse. This is your moment of truth. This is your Kodak moment or your Netflix moment. You can either become the adapter who fearlessly leads the change in your own career, or you can become the cautionary tale that others learn from. Here's your blueprint for becoming the adapter. It's not about some magic bullet. It's not anything fancy. It's a pragmatic 3-step strategy that you can begin executing right now. The step 1, intelligence gathering. Your fear is already pushing you to research and learn, and that is a massive head start. But you need to shift from passive, anxious scrolling to active, strategic analysis. You're no longer a consumer of news. You're now an intelligence agent on a mission. Your goal is to understand the capabilities and limitations of AI in your specific field. Step 2, skill stacking. Your next move is to conduct an honest audit of your own skills. Identify the parts of your job that are uniquely human and resistant to automation. Things like complex strategic thinking, genuine creativity, emotional intelligence, mentorship, and difficult negotiations. These are your bedrock. Then you intentionally stack new human AI collaboration skills on top of that foundation. Step 3 is the positioning. The final step is to change your posture inside your organization. Start viewing AI as a looming threat to your role and start seeing it as a powerful tool for you to lead. Proactively become the AI-aware person in your department. Be the one who volunteers to experiment with new tools. The one who shares relevant case study with your team. Offer to run a small pilot project. By doing this, you're positioning yourself as the indispensable bridge between your company's existing human talent and its emerging AI capabilities. Your fear is only a weakness if you let it paralyze you. If you channel it, it becomes your head start while everyone else is still asleep at the wheel. So I'm playing for this week. It's simple, it's tangible, and it starts the moment this video ends. First, take out a piece of paper or open a new document and list your top 3 specific fears related to AI in your job. Don't be vague like, I'm afraid I'll lose my job. Be more specific, more tangible. I am afraid AI will automate the process of writing monthly client reports. I'm afraid AI-generated designs will devalue my creative work. Defining the threat is the first step to disarming it. Second, research just one AI tool that is becoming relevant in your field. You don't need to become an expert, Just spend 30 minutes to an hour navigating in it. Sign up for a free trial, test it on a small, insignificant task that has no impact on your business or your job. The goal here is not mastery, it's demystification. You're turning the monster in the closet into a simple appliance you can understand and control. Third, this is the most important, identify one uniquely human skill that you possess. Something like mentoring a junior colleague, navigating a tense client negotiation, or synthesizing complex ideas for leadership. Find one opportunity to intentionally practice and refine it this week. This is the part of you that AI can't touch. Double down on your humanity. The truth is, your fear is not the enemy. Your fear is the starting gun. It's the alert that has given you precious advantage of time. Now it's the time to take that first step from paralysis to action. Let's adapt together. Use the community we have here. Comment below with one AI tool you're going to test out this week. By sharing it, you make your commitment to yourself and you might give someone else an idea where to start. And if you want to continue learning more strategies that truly thrive in the age of AI, make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's next. Thanks for watching.